Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard, and thank you for watching today's Corn Belt Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. The jet stream on Friday, once again, a big trough in the west, ridge over the east, that's kept warm, summer-like conditions locked in across much of the Corn Belt. Over the last, it's been like a week or two, we've been seeing this unseasonable warmth, and it does look like we'll get a little bit of a break from that, but warmer temperatures likely to return as we head into the next week. The next 10 days, your temperature anomaly. The next 5 days, keeping that warmer air locked in across the Corn Belt. We do have a front making its way through. That's going to bring some cooler temperatures from the Canadian Prairie into the northern plains, but still going to be likely remaining above normal as far as our temperatures go here, from maybe Nebraska to Wisconsin southward from there. So a big chunk of the central and eastern Corn Belt going to be holding on to those warmer temperatures through the end of the month. Your next 2 weeks of precipitation, though, we will focus on the week 1 time frame. A couple of corridors of heavier precipitation setting up here over the next 7 days. One of those here from the Central Plains into the Great Lakes, and then another one across the Northern Plains into southern Manitoba. So the Dakotas, and then that corridor from Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois are going to be remaining the most active over the next week or so. The last 24 hours of precipitation, we've seen some scattered storms, scattered showers along a front that's dissipating from Iowa into Wisconsin, parts of northern Illinois. The main system going to be developing here across the Central Plains and then sweeping across the central Corn Belt into the Midwest, bringing some heavy precipitation to this region right here. Taking a look at the satellite picture, again, we've got some showers and storms along what was a front making its way through, a cold front. That is going to be washing out, and again, we'll be watching off to the west for the next approaching storm system. You can make out the flow of the atmosphere here looking at the satellite picture, and what I mean here is this counterclockwise flow within the jet stream as this upper level low comes lumbering out of the Rocky Mountains. Again, all kinds of southerly flow ahead of that, including the remnants of Imelda, bringing plenty of tropical moisture into the Central Plains, into the Midwest. And by the time this front kind of settles into this region, that's where we'll get that combination here, combining for some widespread showers and storms, perhaps some heavy rain from eastern Kansas into parts of Illinois. The radar picture here early in the morning, we'll go ahead and we'll just keep moving just in the name of saving time here, looking at the frontal picture early on Friday morning. Again, here's this kind of remnant front that is again washing out, kind of dissipating through the day. Next area of low pressure organizing across the Central Plains. By the time we get to Sunday, see that area of low pressure right across eastern Kansas with the front extending across the region. Remember, all kinds of moisture pumping up ahead of that, especially with high pressure here. We'll see that illustrated in a couple maps I'll show you, but just plenty of moisture for a couple 24 to 48 hour period of heavy rain from eastern Kansas into parts of Illinois. The next 3 days of severe weather outlooks here from the Storm Prediction Center. Here's Friday, Saturday, and then we've got Sunday. You can basically take the front and watch its progress southward across the Corn Belt here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with again Friday and Saturday a slight risk of some strong storms today. That would be across the Dakotas primarily. Tomorrow, looking for a slight risk of some strong storms across parts of central and eastern Kansas into parts of central Iowa. A lower risk, though we may see maybe as confidence increases on Sunday, a slight risk introduced here somewhere from Oklahoma into parts of the Ohio River Valley. Now, looking at the high-resolution NAM model, just kind of tracking out the thunderstorm forecast, the shower and thunderstorm forecast over the next couple of days. We'll bring it back to Friday morning, understanding that we know we've got some weak showers and storms across parts of central Illinois that are ongoing now. We'll probably see those begin to die out as we head into the later parts of the day. Watching for additional showers and storms across parts of the Dakotas. Again, we've got that slight risk approximately in this area as we head into Friday afternoon. Watching for some showers and storms to begin erupting across that area. Maybe 1 or 2 MCS, 1 or 2 squall lines developing across the region and moving eastward. Now, as we head into the day on Saturday, especially early in the morning, we may see the remnants of Imelda begin to flare back up in the form of some showers and storms that could track across parts of Missouri and Illinois during the day on Saturday. And then as we head into Saturday afternoon and evening, we'll watch for the front to begin to light back up. Again, remember, we have a slight risk for strong storms in this area. Now, on Saturday, that would be from that front, perhaps seeing another squall line erupt. And then this front begins to kind of move pretty slow as we head to the day on Sunday. So watching for thunderstorms on Sunday morning anywhere from eastern Kansas across northern Missouri into northern Illinois. Those will slowly make their way off to the east, but again, it's going to be slow progress, and that's why, again, we could stack up some pretty significant precipitation totals in a corridor here from eastern Kansas into northern and central Illinois. The total accumulated precipitation from the NAM model, this is just going to take us into Sunday afternoon. So do understand that we have plenty of precipitation to go as we head through Sunday evening and Sunday night across this region here. So certainly the opportunity here for some regions to pick up 2 to 4 inches, maybe some locally higher amounts with all this moisture present from the remnants of Imelda. Looking at the precipitable water forecast, this is a way that we can kind of track this. We're looking at the amount of moisture in the air, basically saying if you take yourself, look straight up, how much moisture or how much water is in the atmosphere between you and the stratosphere. If we were to wring it all out, we've got some pretty high values here. This is associated with remnants of Imelda that are slowly going to make their way into the central and eastern Corn Belt, and we can track that here. I'll go ahead and play this loop. We'll go ahead and bring it back to here. Let's bring it back and play this as we head through the weekend. Again, watching this moisture slowly make its way northward into parts of the Midwest. We're watching it here go through the day on Friday into Saturday, and here comes the approaching front now, making its way across the northern plains into the central Corn Belt. And again, just combining with all this moisture, if I just hit play on the loop, we can really make out the flow of the atmosphere and why we're looking at this heavy rainfall risk. We got this area of high pressure across the southeast. That is funneling moisture in. We've got aid from Imelda, so we've already got a ton of moisture that's just being lifted up here. And then this approaching storm system out to the west, that brings the upper level support. The frontal boundary stalled in the region. That allows the focus for the showers and storms to develop. So really a perfect situation for one of these slow-moving frontal boundaries to light up with some heavy rain as we head through the weekend from eastern Kansas into northern and central Illinois. Now, what happens beyond that? What's the pattern look like? Well, the precipitable water, that's a great way to illustrate it. Again, we can watch all this moisture from the south make its way in. You'll see the same thing happen here. This is from the GFS model, so we can take it a little bit longer term, seeing all that moisture from eastern Kansas into Illinois. Now, the front does make its way through as we head into the day Monday, so we will get a break here, some cooler weather, some sunny weather as we start off the week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in the region. But watch here, the front does not make its way all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Instead, we continue to see the same thing with southerly flow just resuming from the Gulf of Mexico, bringing moisture back into the central plains, back into the Corn Belt. So we'll leave details for the forecast next week, but it does look like as we head to mid to late next week, perhaps resuming a pattern that could bring some shower and thunderstorm activity back into this corridor of the central Corn Belt. Looking at the GFS now, the precipitation forecast, we'll kind of quickly go through the weekend here, watching this front start off with the day on Friday with our most widespread storms across the northern plains. Heading into the day on Saturday then, watching for our more widespread shower and thunderstorm activity for the day on Saturday to kind of be in this corridor, perhaps some heavier rain across the Dakotas into southern Manitoba on the backside of this upper level low pressure system. And then as we head into Saturday night and Sunday, we'll see this area of low pressure begin to develop across the central plains. Again, kind of just enhancing the focus here along that frontal boundary, leading to some heavy rain as we head through Saturday night, Sunday, and into Sunday night from eastern Kansas into northern and central Illinois. On the backside of that, high pressure moves back in, but then the clockwise flow on the backside of that does kind of keep moisture pumping back into the region. Again, we'll leave the timing and the specifics on this for our Monday and Tuesday forecast here. But just letting you know that it does look like that break is going to be temporary, and then perhaps some of the Corn Belt here from Kansas back into Illinois, seeing those showers and storms resume as we head back into the mid to late part of next week. The other corridor that we'll be watching to stay active here is going to be across the northern plains, and that'll show up here as we look at the total accumulated forecast over the next 10 days from our national blended model. Of course, this takes a blend of some of our more common or our more popular weather models. We'll take it through the weekend here, showing you the total accumulated precipitation from this first frontal system, from this first wave with the enhancement from Imelda's moisture. Again, picking up on the heaviest corridor right in this region here from eastern Kansas into northern and central Illinois, but still seeing some of that rain make its way eastward into the eastern Corn Belt from Michigan into Indiana and portions of Ohio, although it does look like south of the Ohio River going to be remaining dry in this region over the next 7 days or so. Here's the other corridor on the north side, where from the Dakotas into northern Minnesota we could pick up some precipitation. But then watch as we get a couple days break, and then we head into mid to late next week, and the NBM wants to start stacking precipitation back up over this very same area from eastern Kansas into parts of Missouri, northern and central Illinois, parts of the central and eastern Corn Belt, and then keeping this corridor active as well across the northern plains. So let me just take it to the very end. The next 10 days of precipitation, 2 corridors show up to me, and that is Montana into the Dakotas, and then this corridor from eastern Kansas into parts of Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, and perhaps parts of the Great Lakes. Those are your 2 very active corridors as we head through the next 10 days. Looking at the jet stream flow here, just to finish it off, I do want to show that we do kind of find our way back to the very same pattern that we've got right now with this trough to the west, ridge in the east, that is a warm pattern across much of the Corn Belt. We go through a bit of a transition here as this wave moves through over the weekend, bringing our rain chances to the central and eastern Corn Belt. There was some hint that maybe seeing some cooler weather make its way into the Corn Belt late month, but it does look like now the overwhelming theme is to see this massive ridge build in the Gulf of Alaska, digging into a trough in the western U.S., back into a ridge over the eastern half of the United States. That, once again, would be a warm pattern here across the Corn Belt as we head into late September and early October. So your next 5 days of high temperatures here, very warm across the Corn Belt to get started. High temperatures in the 80s almost everywhere. Cooler weather starts creeping in from the northwest on Saturday. Your highs only in the 60s and 70s across the Dakotas on Saturday. Sunday, that cooler weather making its way into much more of the Corn Belt from the Dakotas into Illinois and Indiana. Your highs only in the 70s. So we look ahead to Monday and Tuesday, starting to see that warmth return to the Corn Belt. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday morning Ag Forecast video, and I'll be back to talk about the Corn Belt on Tuesday morning. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.